What's up guys? So today we'll be talking about riding in the rain, and today I'll be giving you 10 tips that will surely help you if you do have to ride in the rain.
I don't wanna talk even though I got two phones. Lands in the back, two colors, that's two foreign. Tell on the map, every state, no 3 times. Fly can't rest, got me flying through 4.
Alright, so number 1 is to wear proper gear. Proper rain gear. So riding in the rain, you're going to get soaked, plus you're going to get cold. So it's good to be prepared and prevent yourself from getting soaked, because especially if you're going to a destination, you don't want to arrive there and you're soaked. Basically you'd have to turn back home, change. So proper rain gear is essential. Usually what I ride in is a full rain gear. So it's this big yellow suit here. I call it the big bird suit. So it has the top and it has the bottom half as well. Now this raincoat here, I paid 2,500 Jamaican dollars for it, but that was way back in like 2017 thereabout. At this point I hear that it's more expensive, but investing in a proper set of rain gear is always good. And for your shoes, you can purchase shoe covers. I used to have one of these that I usually would put over my shoes, and it definitely protects your shoes from the rain. Or you can just do it the old-fashioned way and put a bag over your shoe. In terms of gloves, you can wear pretty much any kind of gloves when you're riding in the rain. I personally do not like to wear my leather gloves because leather and water don't really agree. So what I do personally is I take off my leather gloves and I put them in my bag. Plus they take ages to dry. So what I would recommend is buy a set of gloves. They don't have to be leather, they don't have to be expensive or anything, but have a set of gloves that you can use to ride in the rain as well. Like you would have 2 pairs of gloves, one for rain and one for dry weather, so you know when one is wet you have the other one to use. Number 2, maneuvering in the rain. You want to avoid leaning too far while you're cornering, because due to the rain the tires will have less grip on the road. The more upright your bike is, the more traction it will have on the road surface. Leaning a bike over too much will result in less contact area on the road, basically less traction you'll have on the road, which increases your risk of falling. You also want to be mindful of oil, which drips from vehicles, and then the rain mixes in with this oil, which causes the road surface to be even more slippery. Usually in the first 15 to 20 minutes after the rain starts pouring is when the road surface is more slippery, because that's when the oil starts to lift and it starts to run on the road. So you want to avoid the rainbow looking color on the road. I know it looks nice and you might want to ride near to it, but try to avoid it as best as possible. That's basically the oil lifting up from the road surface. Additionally, you do not want to hit big puddles. You do not want to hit big puddles at a high speed, and I'll get to this later on. But basically if you see a puddle of water, just slow down. Number 3, slow and steady riding is optimum. So your tires won't have much traction on the road. We already established that. And this is because of the water that is on the road. But guess what? The faster you go means the less time you'll have to react and slow down. Now, considering that it's raining, the surface becomes slippery, and everybody, no matter what vehicle you'll have, you will lose traction. So everybody's stopping distance will become more greater depending on the speed that they're going. So that's why it's really good to watch your speed, ensure that you're going at a moderate speed. So the faster you go, the less reaction time you'll have and the slower you will stop. What you want to do as well is to keep your gas at a constant level. You don't want to chop the gas and don't rev it, especially when you're going around a bend or a corner. basically, if you do this, the wheel already has a little bit of traction. When you ease up off the rev, it loses traction, and you go back on the rev, it gains traction. That now can cause you to skid, and it can potentially put you to the ground. So just keep the gas at a moderate speed while you're riding in the rain. Just be smooth with everything basically. So if you accelerate too fast and also braking too fast, can result in you skidding. Just keep it nice and steady. A lot of times you'll also feel the bike slipping. Just relax, don't panic, and you'll be fine most of the times. Moving on, number 4, you want to avoid riding or stopping over road markings or paintings. So these are usually the markings that you see in the road. Like you have the white line, you have a dotted white line, you have your pedestrian crossings, you have your arrows, you have your various road markings. Usually any type of paint that is on the road is considered slippery, regardless of if it's wet or if it's dry. It's just that if the surface is wet, it becomes even more slippery. So you want to avoid those as best as possible. If you have to stop, let's say somebody's crossing the pedestrian, what you want to do is to stop before the pedestrian. Don't stop on the pedestrian as well. That is also a ticketable offense. Stop before, ensure that wherever you place your foot, it's not on one of those lines. Next up, you want to maintain an extra following distance behind other vehicles. What does this mean? It means basically, if you're riding, you would basically, we call it hitch up, or you basically ride close to other vehicles. Now, in the rainy condition, I personally would only advise it if you're going to overtake or if the traffic is moving slow and you are also moving slow. But otherwise, what you want to do is to ensure that you maintain a good distance between the vehicle ahead of you and yourself. At least, I would say maybe 2 car lengths. Usually, you should give them 1 car length in distance so that you can stop in time. But in rainy conditions, at least 2 car lengths. So remember, we only have 2 wheels. So it's gonna take more time for our bikes to stop. This is because we have less grip, less traction, we have less contact with the ground. A car, they may stop quicker or they will stop quicker, and that's because they have more contact with the ground, but we do not. So you have to be mindful of that. Also, by maintaining a good distance, you take yourself out of harm's way from other vehicles that will throw water behind them. So a lot of times when you're riding and you're behind a vehicle, you'll realize that where the wheels are, under the mud flaps, you realize a lot of water is thrown out from there, and that is not very nice, especially when you get splashed. So you want to give them a good distance so that you can avoid the water. Water that is on the road, it's very dirty and it's not nice getting splashed by that. It's better the rain fall on you rather than you getting splashed by the dirty water that's on the road. So a good habit that I maintain, and a good habit that you can also maintain, is riding in the tire tracks of vehicles, right? I always preach this. Yeah, so basically I always ride in the mirror basically of the driver, because the driver is more able to see you basically. Even when it's not raining, you ride in the tire tracks of vehicles because they are more able to see. You're more visible because you're in their rear view mirror. In doing this as well, in the rainy condition, yes, it increases visibility, and also when you're in the tire tracks of vehicle, a lot of times the wheels will separate the water so that you can see what is ahead, and a lot of times when the water is very deep, you can actually see it ahead of time and know whether or not you want to traverse that section of the road. See that? Avoided that pothole just by following this vehicle. Just by following where their wheels go. I mainly recommend riding in the tire tracks of vehicles, especially when the vehicle or you are moving slow. This basically ensures that no water is kicked up on you. None of the road water is thrown on you. So at speeds now, let's say you're on the highway and it's raining. You want to stay out. You want to stay in the tire track still, but you want to give the vehicle a good space so that the water doesn't catch you. Additionally, maintaining distance helps you to identify hazards better. So an hazard can be anything as simply as maybe a stone washing up on the road, or a pothole being covered by water, or even garbage. Basically, whenever you're maintaining your distance, some vehicles, they may see the hazard ahead and they may swerve, and you having maintained your distance behind the vehicle, you can see that they're swerving because of whatever object is in the road. In regards to visibility, always keep your headlight on. This also ties in the rain gear that you ride in as well. So before we get to the rain gear, regarding the headlight, usually when it's raining, it gets dark, especially in a downpour. It usually gets dark. So by keeping your light on, people will see you much better and they will avoid you. If you have fog lamps on your bike or extra lights, you can turn them on. They will increase your visibility. Also, in regards to the rain gear now, the rain gear that I wear personally, as I mentioned earlier, is the big bird suit, the yellow bird suit. Now, yellow is a very bright color. At least this shade of yellow is very bright, so vehicles can see you from afar. So it's very important to wear colors that are bright, high vis, or reflective, that will identify you. I also want you guys to exercise patience and be mindful that vehicles will shut off regardless of where. So a lot of times riding in the rain, you have some vehicles that will get stuck in the middle of the road. Don't be mad. If you can help the person out, do so. Also, be very alert and consider other people's mistake. This ties into the last one, to be mindful of vehicles, because as I mentioned, a lot of times we don't exercise patience on the road, especially when it's raining. We just want to get to shelter, but just be alert and consider other person's mistake, right? A driver might switch lane because they think that lane is better, but when they go in that lane, they realize there's a lot of water puddle, and then they switch back lanes again. All right, a lot of times you have to bear this into consideration, because even you as a biker, if you're driving as well, it is definitely likely to happen to you. You have to bear in mind that you're not the only person using the road, and others will make mistakes. So a bonus tip is to have a bag ready to put your wet gear in, and also your valuables like your cards, your phone, and other things that you do not want to get water damage, like your documents and so forth. It's good to have a clear bag. These bags are waterproof, and these bags will protect your valuables. That you see the rain set up, or you have to go out in the rain, put your phone in a bag, put your valuables in one of those bags, Ziploc bag or the ordinary clear bag, and you're good. All right, so to summarize everything that we spoke about, you want to avoid painted lines, manholes, puddles. You want to avoid things like railroad tracks. If you have to, then slow your speed and take your time. You want to avoid wooden bridges, also steel bridges as well. They're very slippery. Keep your speed at a minimum. Keep the bike as upright as possible. Less lean in the bike rather, and more lean in your body. Give yourself room for error. So you want to give the vehicles ahead of you space. And if a vehicle is following too close behind you, you can get yourself out of that situation or indicate to them to stay back. Be very vigilant as well. Look out for road hazards. Look out for persons doing dumb stuff in the rain. Be patient and calm as well. Practicing all of these can definitely ensure that you have a safe journey whenever you have to ride in the rain. And that wraps up the video here today, guys. I hope that you guys learned something new. If you have anything additional to add to what I said, go ahead, drop it down in the comment section. You don't know, I definitely check all the comments and I will respond to all comments that I see fit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, enough love, enough blessings. Bless upon yourself, mad respects, little more.